Asking the right questions in an interview can be the difference between getting the job or not. Why? Because 3 reasons. The first reason, it shows that you're super interested in the role in the company. I think genuine enthusiasm makes everything better and will help you stand out. Number 2, it shows that you think strategically, you've planned ahead, you actually understand the process, and that really matters. The third reason, it helps you decide if the role in the company is going to be a good fit for you. Interviewing for new jobs is a two-way street. You are being evaluated, but you also need to evaluate the company to rule them out. If you see red flags, if you don't like the vibe in the interview or the conversation, the culture, or maybe the comp isn't right, you got to hash these things out because it's such an important decision to dedicate 40 plus hours a week, 52 weeks a year for the next few years to this company. So you don't want to take it lightly. So in this video, I'm going to share the questions you can ask to accelerate your interview process, to avoid getting ghosted, to increase your odds of landing a job, but also to help you decide whether this company is going to be right for you. The reason I'm making this video right now is because less than a year ago, I was interviewing for my current account executive role in software sales at one of the best software companies in the world. I got my job offer in 72 hours, in large part because the questions I asked at the end of the interviews. After my first round interview, I said, look, I'm really interested in the role. What is the next step in the process? They said, oh, you got to speak with my manager, this guy. I said, fantastic. Are there any reasons why I would not advance forward in the process? And they said, no. I said, great. Is he available later today to continue the conversation? And he said, hold on, let me take a look. Yeah, he is. How about 3 p.m.? Boom. I had my first round interview and my second round interview in less than 4 hours. And then when I was on that second round interview, I said, all right, so who makes the decision whether I get hired or not? He's like, oh, well, you'll need to speak with this guy. I said, great. Is there any reason why you wouldn't advance me forward to that process? He's like, I need to decide. I need to take it internally. We'll see. I said, okay, great. Well, is he available tomorrow just in case so we can set aside a placeholder? He's like, yeah, I'll let you know. So you never want to have uncertainty. You never want to leave the interview without having definitive next steps, whether you're interviewing for a sales role, an engineering role, an executive assistant role, marketing, whatever role you're interviewing for. These questions, these principles I'm going to share with you here today will absolutely apply. And the second reason why I'm making this video is because my sister is interviewing for her first real job out of college. She had the first round with the managing partner, who's like the exec decision maker. He's the guy that will decide if she gets the role or not. She followed up after the first round interview. He responded back in 6 minutes saying, hey, great job. We'll get back to you soon. So she was all enthusiastic thinking, oh, I got this in the bag. I'm going to get the job. Fast forward a week later, she hasn't heard anything. She follows up with him and he has not followed up in 48 hours. So she's basically getting ghosted. And I said, look, do you want to work at a company that does not follow through on their word, that takes forever to get back, that tells you one thing, doesn't do it, or isn't receptive to getting back to you? I think that is a red flag. I even if I really wanted the job, I would potentially maybe just interview him and say, hey, I'm going to pursue other opportunities. Really appreciate you taking the time. You're now creating scarcity. I wouldn't necessarily advise that tactic to increase your odds of landing the job. You got to be serious about it if you're going to pull out. But the person who has the most leverage at the negotiating table is the person who's willing to walk away. So if you are so desperate, if you need that next paycheck so bad that you're willing to take anything, then you're really going to limit your options. But if you're approaching it with an abundance mindset of, I'm going to eventually find the job, so I'm in no rush, I need to find the right job, then you're going to show up with intentionality, and your actions and your words will carry greater weight, and it will make the counterparty actually want to hire you more. And I think it's really important to understand these ideas before we even talk about the questions, because if you're not showing up from a place of abundance and intentionality, then you're just going to diminish your worth and your value. So let's talk about the specific questions you can ask in the interview to achieve the outcomes you want. So first, I would always start out when they say, do you have any questions? I would say, yes, I have a few questions. I'd like to start out by understanding, I see you've been at the company for 3 years now. You've promoted from this role to that role. What keeps you at the company? Pause. The interviewer will not care as much about what you said. they will care more about how you made them feel. They're interviewing so many different people. They're kind of taking notes. There's some companies have really well-structured criteria about who to hire. Some companies less so. A lot of it is just a vibe fit and them thinking, is this person going to fit in culturally? Are they well-spoken? Is this going to work? So how do you get that? You make the other person feel special and important. So you demonstrate to them that you've researched them ahead of time. You've looked at their LinkedIn profile. You understand what they do, how long they've been there. Ask them what keeps you at the company. And if they're like, they don't have a good reason, then that shows you that they're probably on the way out. So why would you want to work at the company? I can't tell you how many times I've seen leaders hiring for roles and then a month or two later, they leave. So why would you want to work at a company like that? That's just not a good look or a good fit. Imagine you getting hired into a role thinking this person's going to be your manager, and then they leave the company or you're assigned to another team. It's just not a great experience for you as the candidate. So you want to try to hash these things out, but you also want to make the other person feel important so they're more likely to say, yeah, this person would be a good fit and pass you for them. The next question you want to ask is about the role specifically. You want to avoid asking surface level obvious questions. An obvious question could be, hey, so what is the next role I would promote to? Or how long does it take to do that? Ahead of an interview, if you're really serious about the company, find people who work at the company and reach out to them and let them know, hey, I'm interviewing with this company. Can you tell me a bit about your role, your comp, the upward trajectory, what you like, what you don't like? Get some of this information ahead of time, and then you can actually use that to ask more tailored and targeted questions in your interview. So what you could ask if you're interviewing for a sales role, because this data wouldn't be super widely known, what is my quota going to be? What percentage of reps hit quota last year? What do you think is the major contributing factor to reps being successful here or not? You want to indicate interest, but also curiosity for the specific role, to show you've prepared, to show you've thought about it, but also for you to understand, wow, if everyone's missing quota, why, if there is no path to promoting or making more money, why would I want to work at a company like this? Because there's other companies that will give you that. So once you've got through some of the minutia, some important information to make them feel important, to get the info you need, then you got to get into the really, really important questions. You always want to ask questions that will progress you forward in the cycle. You may feel uncomfortable doing this, but you got to do it, because if you don't do it, you're most likely going to get ghosted, and there's no worse feeling than being told they're going to get back to you, and then 1 or 2 weeks later, you have not heard anything, and now you start to feel like, oh, am I not good enough? Do I not belong? And then you have this needy energy, and you reach out to them, and it just, you're going downhill after that. So at the end of the interview, you ask this. You say, hey, I'm really interested in this role. What are next steps in the process? Pause. And you listen to them. Are they able to advance you in the process? Or do they need to go back to a team to talk about it as a group? How do you get to the next step? What is the next step in the process? Who makes the decision whether I go forward to the next step or not? Understand this. And then you say, okay, if you're speaking with a manager, or no matter who you're speaking with, you could ask, do you have open headcount right now? So are they actually able to hire you right now? I asked this question in my interview. You got to ask this question. Do you have open headcount right now? And if you're speaking with a manager, they'll say, yeah, I do have open headcount. Because if you're interviewing with a manager that may hire you to their team, you want to demonstrate that you'd be a great fit for their team, but you also want to validate they got that spot. Because if they don't have open headcount, then what are you even doing, right? If you want the job. So once you've asked what are next steps, who makes the decision, do you have open headcount? And if you have check boxes, then you say, look, I'm really interested in this role. I think I'd be a great fit. I feel like today's conversation went really well. Are there any reasons why I would not advance forward in the process? Do you have any concerns about me as a candidate? Pause. And then listen to what they say. And if they say, no, I agree. I think it went pretty well. I don't have any concerns. Then there you go. You say, okay, wonderful. you told me the next step is speaking with this person. You don't have any concerns. Can we go ahead and book my next interview with that person right now? Do you have access to their calendar? And then what you try and do is you book that next part of the interview as soon as possible. Do it that day, do it the next day. Do not wait. Time kills deals. You do not want to wait 1 or 2 weeks for them to get back to you because some other candidate could come in and they like them more, or they forget about it, they get busy. You want to coordinate the next step in the interview process while you are still on the meeting with the interviewer, no matter who you're speaking with. Some of you may be uncomfortable, or this idea may sound cringy, but this is the single most important question and action you can take to progress the interview process forward to the ultimate outcome, which is you receiving a job offer. Once you receive the job offer, you have done your work, you've done the right thing through that interview process, you've received a formal offer, they've outlined your compensation, potential start date, what team you would work for. And then at that point, there's a whole new set of questions you could ask about negotiating that, or using 2 offers for 2 companies against each other for leverage. That's another video, but these are the most important questions that you can be asking so that you can get the job, you can avoid getting ghosted, and ultimately you'll achieve the outcomes you want. Take it very serious. If you enjoyed today's video, hit the thumbs up button now. Share this video with a friend or a family member that is going through the interview process. I'm going to share it with my sister and tell her you got to ask these questions. And if you are interested in starting a new career in tech sales, I'm the tech sales instructor at Course Careers, where we have put together the most comprehensive course that helps people break into tech sales without ever having had any prior experience or degree or connections. We've helped thousands of people get these jobs. So I'm going to link the free intro course in the description below, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.